Hello there, this is Only One Kenobi, only one, and I thought it might be a nice idea for this next video to talk about my favourite thing to talk about, which is the future of the vintage collection. I want to talk to you about my top 5, and I've got a load of honourable mentions as well, because it's hard to make a top 5 list. Top 5 figures from the Clone Wars that I would like to see in the vintage collection. Now, as you know, the vintage collection has certain areas, and one of the areas is the Clone Wars, and we only got 3 last time, and here they are. We got Ahsoka Tano, and we got Anakin Skywalker, and of course Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is the one I've just chosen to start the video with. You can see him spinning there. There he is loose, but here he is carded. Now, only 3 cards, and it's such a shame because, you know, there's so many other characters they could definitely put on vintage cards. So I wanted to discuss what my top 5 are. Now, do keep in mind, this is only my top 5. I'm not saying this is gospel and this is how it should be. I just want to share with you 5 characters. Actually, there's a few more. Actually, I've got some honourable mentions that I would love to see on a vintage card back, done in a realistic style. And I cannot stress that enough. These figures and card backs are presented as these characters would be in the real world, as opposed to an animated universe. And that's what I love about these. They're fantastic. But I want to see more. I've already talked about Rex. If you follow my channel, you know I have a series called the Vintage Collection Wishlist series. And boom, Rex is, well, he's a definite one, and he's on my list for today as well. But there were others that I would like to discuss with you. So goodbye, Obi-Wan, you're coming off the turntable. I'm going to plonk a figure down. If I don't have the figure, I shall just talk about it in the flash of an image. But the first one I do want to discuss with you is, let's start with Rex, hey? Now, this is a figure of Rex from the Black Series, which, you know, it came out in the Black Series. It could have been put on a vintage card anyway. Just imagine that on a card like that. Now, that was the whole crux of that episode I did of the wish list. If you do want to see that episode, I'll leave a link down below. Anyway, I want to bring that series back anyway. But no, Rex just has to be done, but not that figure. No way. I want a figure as good as this. Now, recently I did a review of the ARC Trooper Commander, Captain Fordo. That is a figure. That ain't. Victoria's Cantina said a long time ago about the quality difference between him and that, with the hard camo, non-removable helmet, shrunken helmet. It's got nice touch-ups on the paint applications, but really what I want to see, to cut a long story short, is a Captain Rex as good as that on a Clone Wars card. Let's move this on. That would be my number 1 maybe. I don't know if these are in order particularly. Forgive me, they aren't really in any particular order. These are just figures, 5 of them, and a few extras, as I've said, that I want to see in the vintage collection. Now then, the next one would have to be Asajj Ventress. Now, I've got 2 figures for Ventress to show you. This is the actual animated Clone Wars version of Ventress. Let me just get her standing up correctly. And it's a great figure. It's really lovely. Now, one thing, credit where credit is due. Whenever Hasbro made an animated looking figure, they nailed it. They couldn't have made it look any more like the figures or the characters did in the cartoon. Where I think that Hasbro have gone wrong with Ventress in the past is I don't think they've ever made her look so great realistically, and the problem with that is we don't know what she looks like realistically. She, like Ahsoka Tano, has never ever been seen by a human real life actress. What they have done is, yes, in the Legacy they did make a figure, and this isn't it by the way, they did make a figure of Ventress. Let me put her back to back with the other one. They made a figure of Ventress looking like she would maybe as a female human, but I didn't like that figure. I never even bought it. But one thing I do like is these 2, because as I say, that's spot on. That's how Ventress looked in the animated series, as far as I'm concerned. And this one here is blatantly being styled on the Genndy Tartakovsky appearance of Ventress. She didn't come with these 2 lightsabers. I gave them to her. I do like seeing Ventress swinging a red. I beg your pardon. Yeah, I like seeing swinging red lightsabers, but also blue and green. But this figure didn't come with blue and green. I think she came with red, but I bought her loose on eBay. But one thing, I think that even though they've given us a realistic Ventress in the past, I might try and get you an image now, boom. I think that what they could really do is nail a definitive one, a realistic interpretation of Ventress from the Clone Wars, and put it in the vintage collection. That would be awesome. That's 2, ladies and gentlemen. My next one has to be Cad Bane. Now, Cad Bane has been spending a bit of time on my barge of late. He's been on there with a whole load of other gangsters and bounty hunters. I've been having a lot of fun. He's sort of bending forward there. Let me get him standing up straight. There you go. Now, imagine how good a figure would be of Cad Bane realistic. I mean, he already looks great like he is there, but I actually have Cad Bane with his back to me when he's on the barge, he's sort of like looking the other way, because if you were to look up close, there's not a lot in it really. Let's have a look at how good he is. He kind of is stylized on that animated style, you know, and they all look slightly different. Even Dooku looks not like Christopher Lee. Now he's got a kind of, you know, they've kind of got like exaggerated faces. Now what I'd love to see is a Bane done in the style of that species. I did make a note of it before. You see them in the cantina. They are Duros apparently. I didn't even know that. You see, I am a Star Wars fan, but I don't know all the facts like that. But he is a Duros species, blue skin, interesting species, great character, awesome character, amazing voice. I would love to see him on a vintage card. Let me know if that floats your boat. So here's my number 3. I hope I'm not losing count here. Number 4. Have I lost count? My goodness me. I hope not. Number 4. Now then. My number 4 is Pong Krell. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think they've ever made a figure of Pong Krell, and what you're looking at now is not Pong Krell. This is Obi-Wan. Take a seat, I'll be right with you. I should have thought that you Jedi knew the difference between knowledge and wisdom. He's a great character. That's Dexter Jet. Oh my God, why can't I say this guy's name? Dexter Jetster, and he is a basilisk. I think that's the species. Do correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But one of my favourite characters, one of the weirdest bad guys, crazy, was Pong Krell. A guy commented on my channel years ago now, when I started my channel out. A guy put in the comment section, a man a few words, he just put, "Hey man, we need Pong Krell." And that was it. And he's quite right, you know, Pong Krell. Imagine a figure of Pong Krell. You've got that amazing species, that lovely head, and 2 double-bladed lightsabers. Man, come on, Hasbro, you can't fail with that one. And on a beautiful card back as well. My God, put me in charge of bloody Hasbro. I'll bloody make them. I want to run that company, but I'll just be serving myself. Obviously, it's got to be a public general consensus, but I'm sure that, you know, most people would want that. You know, something like that would be awesome, don't you think? I mean, if you love the Clone Wars especially. So Pong Krell, man, it's got to be done. That would be awesome. Let's move this on, because I literally could talk about this all day, but I've got to keep it brief. My final choice, and this was hard because I've got 3 or 4 honourable mentions here, which I could easily put in my top list, but the next one would be Wolf Yularen, and I put my New Hope Wolf Yularen on there because this is doubling up now as a wish list. I want Wolf Yularen done on a Star Wars chase, you know, for New Hope as well. But here is, I did acquire this figure loose recently. Apparently he did come, he came apparently with an Admiral's kind of like, whatever you call those battle desks, you know, with all the briefing desks or whatever. But I got him just loose on eBay. This is a great figure. This is from the Saga collection of the Death Star briefing set. But I like the character Wolf Yularen. There he is as he appears in this Clone Wars. Obviously that's the one from New Hope. What they could make is a vintage collection figure where you've got him in between the two, you know, the 2 factions of the Republic to the Empire transition. I think it would be awesome. If not, just give us a figure of Wolf Yularen as he is there, because he's such a significant character, and dare I say, he's one of these guys I really feel sorry for him. I don't know if he went down any kind of particularly evil route in Rebels, but what I like about Wolf Yularen is that, what makes me feel sorry for him, is that he came out of retirement, man, to obviously help Vader or whatever, the cause for the Death Star, and then look what happened. It's like somebody, as I was saying on the phone to Sci-Fi earlier, I did a podcast with him, it's like somebody making that guy, the captain of the Titanic, you know, his final voyage, it should be, you know, glory to end his career like that. But no, he perished, and he shouldn't have really. It's a sad ending. So, I'd love to see a Wolf Yularen figure. Let me know what you think about that. Stay tuned, stay with me, because there are some honourable mentions coming up, and you might think these honourable mentions are more worthy of release than the ones I've chosen for my first 5. So let's get rid of these 2. Yoink! And here are, ladies and gentlemen, the honourable mentions. The people I think should also maybe be considered. The first one, only because it's a potential repack, is this Mace Windu, which still annoys me about the orange card line. The orange card line should never have been put into that packaging anyway. It should have all been vintage collection, but no, it never happened. But this figure's just awesome. It's a really good mace. I love that pose I've got him in because you've got the articulated wrists. It's almost like he's got like a kind of a samurai force push going on there. He looks really balanced like a ninja. I like it. So it's a great figure of Mace. It's a shame he doesn't have as much armor as Obi-Wan, but that doesn't matter. They could maybe improve this figure and put some more armor on it. What do you think? So that's Mace Windu. I thought that would be another potential one to finally get his ass onto a vintage card like he should have been done in the first place with the Clone Wars logo. That would be sweet. Next honourable mention. I'm lost it. Ah, yes. The other two I don't have figures for, unfortunately. My next honourable mention is Hondo Anaka. I think I've got the name right. Anaka, I think that's right. Hondo, basically from the Clone Wars, is an awesome character. A space pirate, loads of personality. He's now at Galaxy's Edge, a fantastic new animatronic there. Out of this world. Now, he's already looking like a realistic character already now at Galaxy's Edge. Imagine him on a vintage card and a realistic interpretation of him as a character in 3.75. That would be awesome. I also thought about these guys, the Jedi Temple Guard. Now these are awesome characters, and damn it, they're so rare that, man, any kind of re-release of these or additional release or improvement would be welcome, because I think they're probably the most expensive Mission Series figures or Saga Legends figures there are. I think they're only 5 POA as well, but they need to come back. And then that was all I was going to say to you, but then I was sort of traipsing around my home getting ready to do this video, and then I saw Dooku and I thought, well, I've got to mention Dooku. Now, Dooku isn't massively essential for me to put on a Clone Wars card, but he could. If you know me and you know this channel, you know what I want Dooku on. I want Dooku on an Attack of the Clones card. And that is about it really in the vintage collection, because that's Dooku's main platform. He did appear in Revenge of the Sith, but he did have a massive part in the Clone Wars. So aside a Ventress figure, it would be nice to have two of these side by side. You can have a Ventress and Dooku kicking tail on their vintage card back. So let me know your thoughts. That is my list. Again, ladies and gentlemen, it's only my opinion, and I am not wrong. And neither are you. But what I do want to hear is, people always say this, and it's just to encourage people to get commenting, but no, I seriously, legitimately want to know what your figures would be. Let me know what you think of mine as well. What wouldn't you include? What would you include from the honourable mentions? It's all good, isn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening and watching, and if you are interested and like this channel, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much indeed. This has been Only One Kenobi. Only one. Out.